Hello and welcome back. This is your expert gamer, Mystic Games. Welcome back, everybody. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Today we are going to be talking about Subnautica Below Zero review. This is a replay for me. I'm going to be posting this at the end of my replay here. My beautiful aquarium I made. I did a PDA read, and I thought it was time for me to do kind of my final words on my experience replaying the game and my thoughts. Let's see if our buddy Chell is out there. There he is in the distance. I can see his shadow. So I want to talk about a few topics in this. I want to talk gameplay, game length, sound, graphics, and immersion. And then finally, but not least, replay value of this game. So we're going to start with the gameplay. I'm also going to be doing comparisons to Subnautica and kind of probably giving a speech of how I feel the game runs on its own merits as well. So on its own merits, I believe the gameplay here is very strong. I believe compared to the original, the gameplay is stronger overall. So that being said, I'm going to rate this like, overall I believe the gameplay is stronger than the initial game, and I believe they made a lot of improvements, a lot of customization improvements in a sense. The only gameplay thing that I will mention is that they really reduced the amount of flora that you could plant and stuff, which I hope in the next game that they do bring that back, because when I do my aquarium builds like I do here, I do want to have a garden outside, and I really want to be able to make more than just the stuff that I'm going to be using in resource building and all that kind of stuff. I will say that I feel like as the game progresses, the beginning is very strong. I feel like the middle is not that strong, and I feel like the ending in this game is strong. I will argue that the emotional attachment to the sister that is a core component of this game is, in my opinion, not as strong as the alien story in the game, which is the immediate A story that I feel like becomes the B story, is what I'm going to say. So we'll give it, I want to say, like an 8 in gameplay. I do feel like it was very good overall. It's just there are parts in the center where I was kind of like, and then the story part about the sister, which for me wasn't that interesting. As you guys will hear if you watch my playthrough, a big thing for me was the immersion, which I will get into, but there's a level of immersion of me being the character, and it doesn't matter if the character's a female or male technically for me, but I would want to be able to believe I am that person, and this was very, very story driven compared to the first, and it's just, it's hard to put yourself in the shoes. So that's what I have to say about gameplay. So next we're going to talk about game length. The length of the game is anything you want it to be. Realistically, most games are set up that way. There's a level of, you can put grinding, you can do extra things, you can do things like this where you build an aquarium. I feel the game length is good for the price that you pay. The game never feels too slow until, as I said, there are parts in the middle that feels a little bit slower, but even in the sense of the fact that it kind of slows down, I feel like there is still a lot to see. Like, you're discovering new fauna, you're discovering new plants, so the game never really gets, it doesn't get stale in a sense. There's also very cool interactions between fauna and other fauna in the wilderness, so it's always interesting to see that play out when you see that kind of stuff. A good example of that, let me see if I can quickly look it up here, is the newt fish that like eats a fish whole. When you see that happen in the outside world, it takes you for a loop, because when you see this, it doesn't look like a predator. It looks like just a small prey fish. So there's really cool stuff like that in this game, and I do want to mention that because I find that very interesting, and it keeps your attention, because whoa, you know, it makes you take a second look, because you might not even like see it directly because you're kind of ignoring it, and then out of the corner of your eyes it like eats another fish. So I think that's pretty neat that the game does that kind of stuff, and there's just a lot of stuff going on during the game that keeps you, you know, entertained enough where even in the slower times per the actual story, there's still enough to keep your attention that is not directly story based. So the game length for the cost and the game length for what the story is good. Next I'm going to talk about sound. The sound in this game is fantastic. The sound in this game is arguably better than the first game. That is the one thing in this game that I will real strongly say that I really enjoy. I didn't build it, I don't think, in this game and actually use it, but the jukebox. The addition of a jukebox is just so cool to me, that you can make this and then put a speaker in your base, and you can listen to the jukebox, and you can literally, you know, put a speaker here, right? Put a speaker here, put a speaker upstairs, have the jukebox upstairs, turn it on, walk around your base, and as long as there's a speaker somewhere nearby, you'll hear it. The sound also fades. So like as you get out of, like if I put the speaker in there and then I walk over there and I have the jukebox playing, I will lose sound of it. So I do need to have speakers nearby, and I find that very good game design. So just that in sound by itself is cool. That being said, the sound in the environments and the sounds around you are very good. Overall, the one thing that I will say about the games is the Leviathans. The Reaper was horrifying in the first game. Like, you would hear the screech of the Reaper, and even like the first time you were like, what is that? And you would turn if you even had a chance, and you would see it, and it would scare you to no end. The game, I think the scariest creature here is the Crypto Suchius or whatever it's called, that makes that sound, and it is the most least threatening creature in the game that I can imagine. That's like a predator. I like to call them mini Godzillas through my playthrough, because that's what I think of when I see them. But that creature is like the most unscary thing, and it makes that's actually probably the scariest sound design. But the overall sound is very good. I just feel like the creature sounds were better in the first game for like the atmosphere, whereas the overall sound in this game and the access to the jukebox make it better. So that's where the merits stand between the two. Graphics in this game, they are better, I believe, than the first game slightly. I don't think they're insanely better. But the graphics in the overall sense, like the lighting coming in, it's probably not as good on my recording either, but all the stuff that you see is beautiful. It's beautiful. This game is beautiful. If you watch my playthrough, you'll hear me say, this is gorgeous. It's a beautiful game. The zones are beautiful. As you go into zones, they change. You can tell that there's a slight change happening in this game, and it's fantastic. Like the plants, the fauna, they all go well. I can't even speak. Like, that's how lost for most of the topics I've been pretty clear. I feel like in this one I'm just so enamored by the beauty of this game. A lot of my enjoyment from this game is just seeing all the creatures and just collecting them, and seeing all the plants and taking pictures and collecting what I can and planting them. And I love the fact that there's base building options, and they've added base building options. I do wish some of the base building options that you get, like I think you can get like a shower and stuff. Like, I feel like that's cool, but they need to make some sort of use more than they have for those items. I think that would make the gameplay a little better, like, you know. But I do think they're cool. Like, these bounce back and forth. You can hit them. This thing shoots out smoke. There's a lot of stuff going on for visuals, and then this almost leads into immersion in a sense, which I'm actually probably going to do immersion and graphics as essentially one. So, because I feel like the graphics really help with the immersion sense, along with sound and everything, I guess, really, right? Because that's what immerses you in the game. But there's just so much stuff that you can look at and see, and you can really dig into, that just adds a lot of context to the game and areas like broken bases. You're like, what happened here? You start learning about the PDA. You're like, okay, that was blown up. You find a PDA somewhere else later. It's like, oh yes, that's what your sister did. And again, I'm not a big fan of that story, but I do like how you can see like the things that she did, and you know, really kind of immerse yourself in that sense. I'm going to talk more about the immersion of the graphics portion now. So, the one thing that I do like this, and I also hate it, and it's a very weird way to look at it. For a gameplay perspective, I don't like it. For a immersion perspective, I think it is so good. So in the first Subnautica, and this is a big comparison for me. When you go to a new zone, it's very, very noticeable, I feel like, when you enter the dunes, right? In the sandy area, like, the water changes really drastically as soon as you hit between where the two zones kind of emerge you in. It's almost a very quick transition. Like, oh, I left this zone. If I don't want to be in this other zone, I gotta go back. This game does a lot better job of not doing that. Like, when you enter a zone, it doesn't always change. The only one that I would argue really, really is noticeable would be the lily pad area, because it gets really green, like murky green water, which I think is really cool, which I mentioned a couple times as I was playing. I really considered building a base there, but I chose this zone because I wanted to be able to see Chell from my base as he swims around down there. But I think it's just a very cool way to do zones. Like, you feel, in a sense, you feel more immersed because you do know that you're leaving the zone, because you'll notice like slight changes and variations, but I don't feel like it's as drastic as the first game. And that's where I argue, for a gameplay point of view, it's kind of bad, because you might go into a new zone and not immediately realize it, and if you're trying to search zones out and you really want an in-depth playthrough, like I really did more of an in-depth playthrough this time than I did the first time I played, and I really tried to search the zones a lot more for things, and I'm sure I missed something. Someone's probably going to watch my gameplay video and be like, man, you were in that lily pad zone and you didn't even go into that one cave that's like super cool somewhere, and I'd be like, man, I didn't know it exists, and that's just a really cool thing. But for immersion purposes, I think it's great. For gameplay, I think it kind of weakens it in a sense. So I have a love-hate on the transition in zones in this game, but I do believe overall it is better because it's more immersive, like you're there. Whereas the first game was very obvious, I felt like, when you transition to a zone. I don't really feel there were any zones there I didn't know I entered somewhere else. So for the replay value, as this is my second playthrough, it was totally worth replaying. Especially if you kind of go through and you beat the game the first time and you don't super look around. It does have replay value. Are you going to get anything else out of the story? No. The story is going to be the story. There's no changing the story. There's no editing the story. To my knowledge, there's no difference if I do certain things, and I do have to eat so I don't die because I'm on survival mode here. You do, get the same overall experience in the story that they made. The experience of the game and your enjoyment I think can change by how much effort you put into searching, how much effort you put into building, how much effort you put into looking at all the different things. Like, there's a lot, this game has a lot to offer. Like, I could replay this again. I'm not going to. But in like a couple years, if I wanted to come back and replay this, I totally could. And I would enjoy it. I'd rather play Subnautica 1 overall if I was going to replay again, because I enjoy Subnautica 1 more than I do this. And I will say that. I've stressed that quite a few times. It's not that this is a bad game. There's something about Subnautica 1 that really catches me. And I think it's the fact that I am the technician that is stranded on the planet, whereas in this one I am not this person. There's so much dialogue that goes on and just plays, and it's like the alien talking to you, and then you're talking, and it's like, I'm not this character. Whereas in the first game, I was like, I'm this guy. Like, I'm learning everything that's going on. I'm stuck here. I need to survive this bacterium I have on me. In that sense, the immersion is better. So I would argue that this has replay value, but the replay value, because the story is so closed, in a sense, and not that the first one isn't, but I think the immersion in the first one as the character is stronger than this one, whereas the immersion in transitioning zones and stuff is stronger in this one. So my hope is they balance that out in the next one, and they focus less on direct story, and they focus on more you're doing something, and your main goal isn't, I don't know, I don't even know how they would do it at this point, because I feel like if you make it just survival, they put themselves in a place where I feel like the next story is almost going to be the alien story. So, we'll see what happens. But overall, I did enjoy the game. I don't want to rag on this game. I don't think it's a bad game. I don't have any hatred for this game. Overall, Subnautica 1 is my favorite of the two. So, if I were to recommend this game, I would. I'd recommend you play Subnautica 1 first. If you enjoy Subnautica 1, you will like this game. If you're like me and you like to be the character, this game will be weaker for you. There are times in the game, too, where there's so much dialogue that I would be playing, and I would get frustrated because I'd be talking to you guys, and the character would just start talking because I entered an area, and I'm like, oh, this is super cool, and then it's like, oh, la, 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 and I'm like, man, I just want to talk to you guys. Like, I'm so excited, and now I have someone talking about it. Like, I get it. Like, I'm excited. I don't need you to explain this right now. So yeah, that was the biggest weakness for me. Was they really went hard on the story, I think. Also, hey, for everyone listening to this, if they're at this point anyways, I'm about to end it, no stasis rifle. I don't know why they don't give me a stasis rifle. I want a stasis rifle. I like to be able to shoot and stun things. It's a non-violent gun. I would like to have access to some sort of... If they don't want to have a thing called a rifle or a weapon, make it like a remote control that shoots out a little freaking thing that stuns the thing temporarily or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's other ways to do it, but I really, really like the stasis rifle from the first game. It was really disappointing that they took that out. I really hope they don't remove or they add it back. I feel like it's just a very cool thing to have. It allows you to kind of get up close to certain creatures you normally wouldn't be able to without trying to, like, dodge and juke them. But yeah, that's one of the big things I will say, the stasis rifle being removed. And I am joking about it, but I did really like the stasis rifle. But anyways, that's my review, guys. The game's good. I highly recommend the game. I'd highly recommend that if you're going to play the series, you play Subnautica 1 first. The value is there in Subnautica 1. If you play that and you enjoy it, you should definitely play this game because it is a good game. There's just factors that are going to be per your enjoyment of games that will change your outlook on if you enjoy this or not. That you may value those things higher than me, and this game may be more fun, or you may not. You may value what I value, and Subnautica 1 will be more fun. But yeah, at the end of the day, great game, cool vehicles, I have nothing really bad to say. I would recommend you guys check it out. Just so everyone knows, I may do one more video talking about the ideas for the next game of things they could do. It's going to be co-op. I did do a short little video because they did pretty much send out a update saying that co-op is happening, and that was like the big reveal that they gave away. And it had a picture, which if you guys go back through my, it's not going to be on my playlist because it's not part of my actual playthrough. My review will be, and this will be, I should say. I would check that video out if you're interested in it. I talk about what they do reveal, which is very little. But it did seem like there was some new art. So you might be getting a sneak peek of some fish. If that interests you, I would definitely go and check out that video as well. What I will say at this point as well, please comment, guys, please. I know I don't have like a ton of viewership right now, but I really enjoy the comment. I like talking to you guys. Like, I don't want to like stress anyone out or make them feel like obligated to, but I think it's really cool, and I would like to see people even talk to each other about what they think about the game, and even if they disagree with me, that's fine. You know, I'll be like, hey man, I think you're being too hard on this because this and this. I would love to hear your opinions because, you know, you might actually change my mind a little bit, or you won't. But you know, I always like to hear what other people have to say. The world's a very gray place, and there's a lot of black and a lot of white that can be, you know, folded and changed, and in someone's eyes be better or worse. And taking in another person's opinion and really being able to think is very important, just in a general sense in the world. So please, you know, comment. I almost care more about that than the subscribers. The only reason I care about the subscribers is because I want to get to the point where I can have legit conversations with people in the comments, because I think that would be super fun. And I'd like to build a community where we can do that kind of stuff. So, anyways, I hope you all are legitimately having a wonderful day, and I hope you have a good one. Check it out for more videos. I have some really cool ideas for Subnautica other than what I've done, and when they come out, I hope you enjoy them. I hope I'm able to do them the way I want to as well. They're in the works now. Alright everybody, thank you for joining me. Mystic Games out. I'll talk to you all later. Have a great day.